Welcome to East Tennessee. Today I've got this jumping jack. And my instructions on this one are just make it work. I'm gonna try it. So before I start doing that, I just wanna, let's walk through it. I do have it plugged in. I shouldn't have plugged it in. I haven't turned it on, but I shouldn't have plugged it in because sometimes when you plug it in, it's already turned on and then it just jumps to life without you know it. But it didn't. So it's either turned off or it's really broke. So anyway, I was just looking at it and somebody has put either some kind of veneer down or a varathane. So it's real shiny, and they did get it clean before they put down it. It almost looks like varathane, but it doesn't look like brush strokes. It looks like an ununiform. It looks like a sticker that's got little ripples on it. So I'm wondering if it's some kind of overlay, like a real thin. It almost looks like it's thermally applied because it's got like these little heat wrinkles almost. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like this. Everybody knows what this stuff is. Now that's some garbage on top, I think. It's rough to my finger. That's not on the bottom side. That's on the top side because I can feel it. So I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of interesting looking. It's almost like it's been melted on there. I don't know, but not my problem because I'm only going to get to work. But it is interesting. So this thing apparently doesn't work, but somebody has put some time and effort into it fairly recently. Got all new pop bumpers, all new plastics. Those are pretty cool looking. So it's got new lane guides, at least those two. I'd say those drop targets are new also. Maybe not new, but they're not original. All the posts, those are not new, but they're not original. So somebody's gone through and like all this hardware is nice and shiny. Somebody's done some work on this. It may have been a while, but somebody gave this game some love. So in any case, let's reach down here, turn it on, and see what happens. Okay, we have lightage. That's good. It says we got 10 credits on there. So let's give it a button press here. I think he just tried to kick a ball out. Let me go find a ball. I got my stash of medium quality balls. These are generally balls I take out of games, but they're not good enough to go on a freshly clean game. Okay. So I believe what it's doing is trying to reset the bonus. I don't see the bonus ladder. I've not worked on this game before. Bonus value in lit. So there is a bonus. I don't see the ladder. You know, when I say ladder, a bunch of lights on the playfield stacks up. But I can hear it down there going, so it's trying to reset. I'm going to do my best to avoid trying to fix that bonus ladder by going and fixing that bonus ladder. I'm going to instead do what I preach, and I'm going to just go through this entire game. Like I bet this, well, no. So that's been cleaned. That's fairly clean. Actually, this is the one that this guy's telling me he had gone through and done some work on it himself. He had cleaned all of this mess. But that thing is like, that's good. And when I plugged it in, those plugs were pretty good. But something ain't right. Okay, I'm gonna do what I said I wasn't gonna do. I'm gonna look under the playfield and see what's knock. I can't avoid it. I can't resist it. I gotta do it. Well, for one, the schematics, they're all jammed up against here, so I'm not sure these can actually move. You know what that is. Priority mail. I'm just gonna pull these things out. They're kind of in the way. Let's take those right there for now. Rodent repellent. That's probably a good idea. Keeps mice out. 100% money back guaranteed. I wish it was that easy. Okay. Wow, somebody's relabeled this thing. Nice. Yeah, somebody loved this game for sure. Let's look at this sucker. That's not as clean as the one in the back. Okay, I'm going to turn this game on again. And I'm going to try to start another game. We'll see what happens here. Well, before this thing was just so it wasn't finding its home. It is now, and I will say that seems like it was overly gapped because it was, even when it was up, you could see a spark between those, so it wasn't making. That's too big a gap, is what I'm saying. So that's going up, and then this is going top. This should putting all the drop targets up, and then it's trying it again. And then it's going back here. So what that makes me think, just kind of without knowing anything about this game, this thing is get to a position to tell this to operate, and then all those drop targets go up. And then it's got to check to verify all those are up, but it doesn't think they are. So it goes through it again. It tries to run this to get to the next position, to fire this, to make it go up. But they are up. So it could be as simple as the switch that tells the game that these are all up, and it could be any single one of these is either not open or not closed. You know, some of these, this may have two switches. Yes, so this one's got a switch in the back and a switch on the front. So this one here is the one that operates when this thing drops. They drop one when it's in the down position, and the other one, well, let's just look at this one over here on the end. So this one operates in transit. Let me get it in there, focus there for you. So that switch right there, it opens, it closes, it drops. And this other one right here, it's closed when it's down. So when they're all up, all the switches should be open. So it's possible that one of them is closed. That'd be a nice little find. Or it could be one of them shorted up in there somewhere. A gob of solder. Because somebody's been working on it, remember? Oh, look at that one's got a gobby looking. In fact, if I was guessing, that wire looks pretty fresh. I guess it's the same wire as in all of this, all the orange wire. I don't think that's new wire. Well, look at that. That one's not even soldered on. Well, it is, but just like two strands. Can you see that? I just tried to wiggle it. Yeah, I think this orange wire might be new wire. Wow. So that's almost a short right there. Yeah. So basically what somebody's done is all these lights were flaky. I've done this before myself. And you move that wire from that tab there to the base there, and that removes a point of loss of continuity. They've also soldered the bases of these, like that one there, that can there, the solder right there to the tip of my finger. Now they've soldered that to this base plate. So basically somebody's gone through, done a lot of work to make those lights solid. I've done that myself. Maybe I've worked on this game. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I don't think it knows that these are all up. I could just be full of it. I do have the manual, or I don't know if I've got the manual. I've got the schematics. And on these Gottliebs, there's an order of operation in the manual. And if you read it, it'll tell you the sequence of operations. So, first it does the scroll reels, then it does the blah, 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 then it does the blah, 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 then it does the blah, blah, blah. So we can read that thinking about what we just saw, and it might give us an idea of what the problem is. We don't only have the manual. We've got 3 copies of the manual. So I'm going to use this one here. Oh, I got somebody in the door. So here's the operating instructions. Yeah, it's got a bunch of gibberish, really. You insert a coin or push the replay button. Okay, I did that. This starts the this relay will lock in through its own switch and a motor 2B switch. S relay starts the motor running. We definitely have the motor running. SP relay and total play meter are actuated a switch on the motor through a switch that has been closed on the S relay. Okay. SP2 is tripped and the score units and player unit reset sequence starts. We definitely have the player, well, we didn't see the player units if it restarts, resets. Definitely the score reels are resetting. When these units reach 0, the player unit steps once and the second player unit resets. Maybe we should go there and see if we've made it that far. Put a score on player 1 and player 2 and see if we get that far. And then we can go further. And this is really the wrong way. Again, this is the wrong way to attack the problem on this game. Really, just need to go through everything on here. But just for fun, because it is kind of fun. I'm going to do it this way for once. But I'd never do it this way, really. All right, so I put some points on both players. I also tripped all those relays on the bank there. And so let's fire it up again. So it's on, so let me hit the credit button. Okay, so what I saw, that reset, the bank reset, and then this started going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bank. So we're past player 1 reset, player 2 reset, and I think they're calling this the control bank reset. So let's go back to the instructions or the manual and try to figure out where things are going awry. So we'll just keep reading through here and figure out. So the second player, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the control bank is reset. Okay, we did that, I believe. Through a switch on the U relay. I believe that took place. I think that was that lower bank. Inserting additional coins. I think it should stop after that, but it's not stopping. It's actually like inserting additional coins or pushing the replay button will actuate the second ball relay through the second player relay. But that would get, I mean, I know enough about EMs to know that you don't push you don't put another quarter in until the first one stopped making noise. Otherwise, it might eat your coin. I learned that a long time ago. Place the ball in the out hole. Yeah, we're not making it that far. So the control bank is being reset. This is not very helpful at all. I think that's the control bank. I don't know what else it would be. I've got it unscrewed here so I could just reset them a little easier. So I guess I'll just go back, and it could be these things are just dirty and I'm gonna have to clean it anyway, so why don't I just clean it? Wow, is that a new switch? No, but somebody's filed it clean. Tell you what. Yeah, somebody has worked this thing over. It's good and bad. Some of the worst, horrific problems I've ever had have been, again, that's been worked over and somebody like got a wire out of place. Because that is like the most difficult thing to find when you've got some random wire that's soldered into the wrong place because somebody's moved it. I hope I don't have a problem like that, because those are absolutely the worst, most frustrating things in the world. Because cleaning and adjusting, that's not going to fix it. Kind of using logic to like, okay, well, this is going and these are not resetting, trying to make sure all those switches are clean and nothing shorted on the switches. That's not going to fix it. You're going to ultimately have to go through and find a wire that's been soldered in the wrong place. If that's the case, we're in for a long, well, I am. For y'all, it'll be a difference of like 5 minutes in the length of the video. And I'll come back and have even less hair. Well, it's only been about 2 or 3 minutes, and I figured out at least this intermediate problem. So I flipped the play field up, and when I did, the ball fell out in the bottom of the cabinet. I do that about 10 times a day. But anyway, and then I was monkeying around back here, playing with this player's unit, just making sure that that thing was rotating. I was pretty sure it was, but I just wanted to visually make sure, and it was. And it turned around, and the game stopped. And it was like, it was done, and it was in a game. I was like, well, what happened? Did I magically touch this thing and it started grace it with my hand and it started working? And I was like, so then I threw a ball in. Oh, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. It's that rhythm. So this is just not kick the ball out. It's trying, but it's not. So the same circuit that's popping these up is also the same circuit that's supposed to kick that ball out, but the ball's not kicking out. So that was the confusing part. I thought this was trying to reset. It was the ball trying to reset. I was confused. So it said it's kick the ball out. That's what it said in the manual. And I was like, it didn't fall out. It wasn't kicking the ball out. So anyway, I'm going to take the skirt off. And maybe it's just a loose wire on the coil, huh? It could be the outhole relay, because it's going to have like 4 or 5 sets of switches that touching. It could be the one that actually drives the outhole. The outhole coil is just not making good contact. It could be as simple as that. And that's the kind of crap, if I'd have just taken my time and cleaned all the switches first, I would have fixed that probably. And then this would have been fixed, and I wouldn't even have known it was wrong, but I wouldn't have all the fun, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's fun. I like to give myself at least 10 or 15, 20, 30 minutes to play around with the game before I get serious about working on it, because I do think it's fun. Well, I didn't have to take the skirt to get to the coil for the outhole. It's right here, and it's looked good, and it's been resoldered. The whole thing has been resoldered. The more I looked, the more I realized this whole thing has been resoldered. It's kind of scary. This outhole relay, there's like no travel in it, like none, almost none. So that's probably the crux of the problem, is it's not opening and closing those switches. Like if you look at this one here, you see how much travel it's got. It's got like 4 or 5 times as much as that one. That's no way, no. So I'll deal with that in the morning. So anyway, I think at least the first problem, there'll probably be others. This next morning, and I pulled that pin from right back there. So this thing just sits in like, if I can get it in there. And then there's that pin goes in the back, and that comes out. And I can see the reason why this doesn't have any travel is not that it doesn't go down, it doesn't come back up. And the reason it doesn't come back up is because it's basically, these ones like on that top, they're pushed too far down. They're trimmed too far back. So it's the spring is not strong enough to overcome all the pressure from the leaves that are pushing it down. Like that one is trimmed too far down. So the whole thing just needs to be readjusted so that this thing will come back up. And it's like that one there, that middle blade, it's actually pushing it down when it shouldn't be holding it down that far. And or maybe the spring is bad, but it seems like the spring is fine. So I'm gonna just retrim that, see if I can get that where it's got full travel, to where it resets all the way back when it's not energized. Okay, so I did my first pass on this, and it's still messed up, but what I have is I have full travel. It goes all the way down, all the way up. So what I did was every one of these blades that goes through this plate here, I pushed it up. In doing so, like that top one, it's been out of place. It's too tall because I'm using this switch tool, and it's a little too wide. I'm gonna have to get a little thin blade screwdriver instead. But What that does is, because those blades, they were pushing it down so strong the spring just couldn't get it back up. So now that I have the travel, now I'll adjust the other side of these blades such that it opens and closes on each one. All right, I got it all tuned up. I think it's gonna work. We'll find out here. I'm gonna load the playfield in there, put a ball in there, boot it up, and we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Not going. Well, so yeah, so it was a little different. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not kicking every single time, it's doing it every second or third. So let me adjust on that outhole switch a little bit more, outhole relay a little bit more. Just as an aside, you see that spark? If I press it here just a little bit, it goes away. That spark is indicating it's not making good contact. There's this tiny gap that it's jumping across. And actually, if I touch this, it's actually a little bit warm from that arcing across there. So it's not what you want. I said I was gonna bend that, so I'm gonna bend it. Maybe I'll get a switch tool. This will be easier, I think. If I can get in here. It's a fine line. And really that bottom one ought to be in a little closer too, so it's got pressure on it, and then this one can get down further. So the whole thing has a better, more range there. So now when it's up, let me step it up. Now it is closed. All right, well, so that's fixed. This, it's still not kicking out. I tried it again off camera here. I don't think it's this relay. That's the problem with working on these things like this. It could be 10 other points of failure on this game that I haven't even looked at. It could be a Jones plug. Obviously, electricity's got to go from here through those Jones plugs up to here. It could be as simple as a dirty Jones plug. It's getting a signal, but it's too weak to make it up here. Never did check the coil. Could be a bad coil. Who knows? It could be lots of different things. So before I waste any more time, because I'm mostly wasting time playing around like this, I am going to go through and I'm gonna take this playfield out of the game. I'm gonna clean every switch in here on the relay board. I'm gonna clean them on the playfield, and I'm gonna clean them back here. I think this unit here is good. This other unit's not quite so good. But it moves freely, but I don't know that it could be. I'm not exactly sure. Bonus scoring, it controls opening circuit to Q relay. I don't know what the Q relay does. Yeah. Anyway, I can get this guy figured out. But I really don't want to go down that road. I'm just going to clean. I was going through and cleaning switches, and that's just moving this thing around to get everything open and closed. And this one here, it's not moving at all. It's just stuck in the open, and then I was like moving it, and I like pop that back down there. I just pulled it out again, but the way you saw it first, that's the way it was when I got the game. So that little pole there somehow it got stuck on the other side of there. It shouldn't ever have a chance, because I'm looking at it, it doesn't push it beyond that plate. But it was stuck on the other side of that plate. So I don't know what those 2 or 3 switches are for. Looks like there's 3 switches there, but they weren't working. That could have been our problem. There was one switch over here on the control reset bank that was permanently closed. It was not opening. So I've still got to go through this bank here, and I got to go through this. and everything, well, and everything in the back box and the play field. So I'm keeping going here. Okay, I finished cleaning the switches in the bottom on the play field. Oh, sorry, didn't do anything on the play field. I lied about that. And the back box. Got the game turned on, give it a boot. Oh, I'm out of credits. Let's give it a couple credits. Knocker works. Hey, I fixed it. So I don't know which one. There was two main things I did. There was a switch on that W relay, and on the score reel there was a whole bank of switches that was stuck open. So is one or the other. I could get out the schematics and probably figure it out, but maybe I will. You want to? Yeah, listen, I kind of have an itch. Okay, so to do the schematics, and figure out why it wasn't working and why I might have fixed it. I know that this outhole relay, it was energizing, but the ball kicker wasn't kicking. So it's not, when I first looked at this, I looked at the outhole relay. It's like, that's not the problem. The outhole relay, the O relay is working. It's this one here. So on this schematics, they've got other coils used. So these other coils are like power coils. Coils they're using to kick the ball and such. So the one we're looking for is the ball return coil. That's that one. It's not kicking the ball out of the outhole. So that's at 13E. So we go 13, slide over here. And there it is, ball return coil. So it's pretty simple. It's got the outhole. So that's a switch on the outhole relay, the O relay. And it's got a switch on motor 4C. So it's looking like it is the score motor. So here's a diagram of the score motor. I like to lay these out so there's that notch, kind of in the same orientation. So 4 is this, and so that little thing there, that's the hole. These diagrams don't show the switches, they show the holes. So that's that plate there. So the 4 are the switches that are going this way. So it's these here. And it was 4C, so C is even with the top stage. Those right there on my finger. And that was the one, well, you can't really see. That was the one that was stuck. So absolutely, that was the problem the whole time. And so, if I'd have done like I said I should always do, is go through adjust the switches, I would have caught that, and I would have never had this problem, and I would have never known it had a problem because I would have just fixed it. And it's not near as interesting, or maybe not as fun, but certainly a lot more efficient. So now that that's done, probably ought to go through this play field, or I can see what else is wrong because it's just so much more fun. Let me just roll a few balls now that we can play a game, and we'll see. I don't really know all the logic, the rules for what's supposed to happen. I did see earlier that some of these drop targets, I think the drop target assembly is too far back. So these don't have enough room to go back and fall. Some of them just, like that one, some of them won't hardly go back. I think I need to move this whole assembly forward a little bit if I can, if there's enough room. I'm sure it worked at some point. So anyway, I'm gonna do that first because I want to see if I can get that working a little bit better. So I just loosened up all these screws. There's supposed to be 6, there's 5, and it was setting all the way down, but there's a little bit of freedom, and that's probably enough. You know, somebody, like I mentioned, somebody swapped these out, and it's easy to set it up here and get your first one started, and then it's going to hang it down. So I'm going to have to hold it up as I screw them on there. I'm going to find one more screw to put in that one there, and we'll be good to go. All right, so I got this thing booted up. I got this thing, those drop targets mounted a little bit further this way, and it's registering. It's So each one of these clearly has a relay. It's lighting. And watch this last one. So I got my 1,000 points at the very end. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to work. I'm guessing surely it's supposed to make a sound. I mean, that'd be a pretty dead game if it didn't like get a 10 points or something. I don't know. And so some of the other, I think maybe just the 100 point is not scoring. So pop bumpers are working. It says 100 points. I think it's just 100 points. And also the 10 points is not working. So although that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was the 500 point is working. But that's different than the 100 point. It's got a different circuitry. So it's got a 500 point relay. It's like this one's got a 500 point. I thought. So what that say? 3,000. So that doesn't work. So I don't think the 100 point is working, or that should be a 10 point for sure. Oh, that should be 500 points. So again, I haven't done anything on the playfield yet. So how about I start there? Well, just for fun, I came back here and hit the 10 point, 100 point, and 1,000 point. So those are working. Not sure why everything else isn't working. I'm gonna go through these switches, and I may take this apart. I still have some doubts about this one. So I'm diving into this non-scoring. I figured I'd start on something like easy side of it, because there's several things not working, but the easiest, simplest thing are these 10-point switches. Those are the actual switches. Those are a representation of the switches on the playfield. There's 6 of them. I found all 6 of them, and none of them are closed. So, you know, and you could also just turn the game off. And if you turn the game off, and when you turn it off, if it cycles over, when you turn it off, that means one's closed and it's just stuck on. So when one of those switches goes, it hits the N. The N is the 10-point relay, and I know that works because if I move that with my finger, it scores. So you got to look upstream of that. And the first thing upstream is motor 1C. So I am going to look at motor 1C. And check that out. I'm kind of doubtful of that because there's so many other things that are not scoring also. So, but anyway, I'm gonna look at that real quick. This is motor 1C, and if I press like that, I can't do it because I've only got 2 fingers. If I press like that and the press one switches, it scores. So they're touching, they're just not tight enough and clean enough. So that's all it is. So that's good news. And I didn't even hit the 10 point. I just reached up here and hit this one. It's not working now. Maybe, here I can do it like this. I can press, and I'm gonna reach down here and press this. What I did was make it score. I touched it like that while I was holding that switch. So that's it, motor 1C. All right, see if we're scoring now. Yeah. See if these are scoring. Maybe those aren't supposed to score. They're supposed to fall. That one scored. I bet they're all supposed to. Or maybe I might have just hit. Yeah, that was just hitting the 10-point switch behind it. So let's see if those are still not. Well, at least that one's not. So that's probably just a switch. Actually, well, those are cool. 500 point. 50 or 500. So the 50, that 500, and that 500 is not working. So could have a problem with the 500-point relay. That's what I'm guessing. 50 or 500. 50 works. Wait. That one doesn't work. 500. I'm thinking the 500-point relay is not working, buddies. Or 10. Got my 10 and my 100 working. Oh, now this one will work. Or not work, and this one will work. Okay, for sure, the 500-point relay. And now this one will not work. Yeah. Okay, so drop target score 50 or 500 points. Again, that's why now they're going to work. Wait. So they're supposed to score 50 before. They weren't. So let me put a new ball in there. That was not lit when we started, I don't think. Let me start a new game. It was not doing this a second ago. I don't think I had that 500-point lit. Now they're not going to score. Okay, so let's figure out this. Let's work next on the 500-point relay. So the first thing like this, I like to just hit the relay manually. And I'm going to do that right now. So if I hold that in, it works. So if I can get that relay to activate, my problem will be solved. So I'm going to find that D relay on the schematics and look upstream from there, not downstream from there. So there's the D relay. And man, there's all kinds of stuff. Hard for me to see what I'm doing and look at the phone. And if I look at the schematics outside the phone, I end up drifting away and y'all can't see. But it's not going to be all those switches. The common denominator for all of it would be motor 2B. What's D? I don't know what D and C. I hate the way that Gottlieb uses these letters because I constantly have to go back into C. Oh, jeez. Well, D is the one we're just looking at, and C is, yeah, so those are just holding. So this D is like once it's closed, it keeps itself closed through that. So once it pulls in, that stays closed until motor 2B opens it up. But so none of these switches work. So it's pretty much, this could be E. What's E? E is the add bonus unit relay. So that's a switch on the add bonus unit relay that's normally closed. So it could be E or motor 2B. It'd be my two culprits that I'm looking at. I think maybe I'll check out E first because that'll just be easier to get to. So watch what happens when I press on E. See those sparks flying? It's not good. I'm gonna pull this out of there and really do a good job of tuning that thing. I adjusted that E relay. I got this on 500 now. It's working now, and all these are lit for 500. Now they're going, these should go too. Cool. Got to shoot again light. So we're still at ball one. Let's let this ball drain and see if the ball's advanced. I haven't even done that yet. Oh, come on now. If I was really playing that, it'd take 2 seconds for this ball to drain. Yeah, went to ball two. All right. We're making progress on this thing. Haven't started a two-player game yet successfully. Let's see if it'll do one now. Oh, out of credits again. Guy said he wanted to build it on free play, so I'm gonna do that. Should do that sooner than later. Let's do a 2-player game real quick. And it's on 2-player. And these games, I'm pretty sure you got to run across that switch right there to actually get into a game. Better go there. Well, now we're back to where we were. Funds really, I don't like that. So something is still not quite right. Just tapping on the play field and getting it to go. I thought I'd fix that up. I may not have. I may have just been playing it long enough, messed around with it, and it started kind of Christining. It's a little disconcerting. But anyway, for the moment here, we got it in a 2-player here. So let's see if it'll advance to the 2nd player. It should. Because it just means that player unit advances by 1 step instead of 2 steps, as in when you're in a 1-player game. Yep, we're on player 2. Let's see if any of the score reels turn. Oh, shoot. How about a 10-point? Well, so this game is mostly working now. What other is there? So there's that. There's this. We haven't seen the special. The alternator. That light is going. Yeah, the alternator's working. Most of this stuff is working. It's a little disconcerting still that this thing is kind of every now and then it stumbles and doesn't want to kick the ball out. So got to figure out exactly what the weak point on there. I'm sure it's a switch that's just barely making, and just figuring out which one is the weak link. And that's exceptionally hard now that it's kind of working, because it's hard to fix it if when it's working most of the time. So I just unbolted that. I can get in here and look. And again, it's not super dirty, but it's certainly not super clean. These shoes actually do look fairly clean. But I'm going to get a little Scotch-Brite and alcohol, clean this up, then put some PBR grease on there, get it good and shiny. It looks a lot cleaner, so I'll just get a little tiny dab of PBR grease. Just smear it around the perimeter. This one, you don't have to worry about which way it's oriented, because it just goes, it's continuous. It just goes around and around and around, if I can find them. There's no reset, so you don't have to be worried about the placement, other than to make sure that the little feet are lined up on individual brads. Well, I'm looking at this, and one of these feet are, it's not sticking up high enough. And so I can see somebody has probably resoldered this, and they got a big glob of solder that's not allowing this to come back up. So I'm gonna fix that. It's probably not that big of an issue, but it might be, that actually might be the cause of it, because it's not, that's just barely touching. And it's stuff like that that, you get intermittent problems. So I'm gonna heat up my soldering iron and fix that real quick. So I'll see if I can just see it move there. Wow. So now it's even with the rest of them. And to see if that wire is still attached. It is. Firmly. That one is down a little bit too. I'll take care of it while I'm here. Wow, now it's way up. They're all, none of these are actually going up. Even the tall ones were just taller than the really short ones. Yeah, somebody's redone these and messed them up. I'm just going to go through all of them real quick. Just clean all the extra solder off of them. Well, I got some stuck on there. It's getting hot. Just using my tool here to measure, see if these other, see that one's there. That one's a little short too. And sure enough, there's a big old hunk of solder hanging off the side there. And now it's taller than the other one. I think that's better. So now when I place this, I have not quite a 1/4 inch, but close to it of travel. Means those springs are getting compressed, and that means there's a little bit of pressure on there, so that's good. That's what I want. So I'm gonna button this up. And there goes my screwdriver. It's okay. Find a hole. Somebody marked this with a marker, but it doesn't matter which one it goes to. Like I said, it's continuous. And lastly, just get this centered right on one of those brads and lock it down. It's not quite. Left it a little looser so I could adjust it. That looks good. Final answer. All right, well, hopefully that did us some good. We'll find out at some point in the future if it hangs up again. We'll know that didn't do us much good. One other issue I just figured out this, outhole switch, it had a hair trigger. I mean, and it's also kind of barely touching the kicker. So when it came down, it was basically pulling that switch down. That was causing it to kick again. So it was getting in a cycle. So that was another part of it. I may see I bent it a little bit to open it up a little bit further, but it's a homemade jobber, it looks like, because it's kind of bent around in a corner like that. So I'm going to try to straighten that up so it alleviates that cycling. So I've messed around another 15-20 minutes, and I've got that out-hold relay, and if I mash it good and hard, that ball return will go every single time. So it's one of those switches that's still not reliably connecting. So I'm going to figure out exactly which switch it is on that out-hole relay, and I'm going to do a super duper job on it. So it's brown and red and orange and red, which probably means 2 dog turd oranges or dog turd browns. So it's probably going to be hard to tell. Brown and red and orange and red, and it's normally open. So to figure out which one of these it is, I thought it might be this one, but I don't know. So what I've done, if I hold this, it's kicking. I can hear it. If I hold that open and do the same, actually it's still going. So that's not it. That's not it. Maybe it's the other side. That's not it. It's not a make or break. Let's see if it's that one. That's the one right there. So yeah, that could be brown and orange and red and orange or whatever it was. So it's that switch, third down on the back side. I mean, it looks like it's adjusted okay. And it goes, if I use my fingers, it works, but I'm gonna adjust that a little bit closer. That third one up there, I've got it fairly tight, and I've cleaned it again. So it's got almost the whole throw is putting tension on it. So I'm gonna try this one more time. Here we go, booting up. So it is kicking this a second time. I don't know why it's doing that for. It's like it's kicking it and it does that pretty reliably. Yeah, it's like running on. There, it missed one. And then, so it runs on, then it adds another one at the end. Sometimes. I don't know. This thing's driving me nuts. So I think I might have figured out what it is. So when I got all these wires were underneath here. And when I was in between, I wasn't actually mounting this back in there. I was laying it in there. And I think this thing was just the pressure on the bottom of this plate was keeping it from fully operating. So this whole harness has been taken apart. You see all the zip ties? Somebody's like, I don't know, they probably took this off and washed the board or something and resoldered the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know why somebody would, but I know people, yeah, they get, this doesn't look, I mean, sometimes people take these apart, clean them, and like varnish them, and they look beautiful underneath. This hasn't been done that, but it is moderately clean, like somebody has washed it. All the labels are new, so then obviously somebody put some time into the play field, so I don't know. But anyway, I think the wire management may be the issue. So I'm going to get one of these clips. I think I've got a big one. And screw this down out of the way, and maybe that's going to fix a problem. I just did a couple of balls, and it seemed like it was working. So maybe that's it. All right, so I got those tidied up there. They're out of the way. try it one more time. Yeah, now this is great. Huh. Press start button. Great. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same as before. Awesome. All right, I have monkeyed around with this a little too long. If I hit this, it works every single time. It's not the O relay. It's the timing of the O relay. The O relay is coming on a little too early, and it's staying on a little too long. So the sequence of that O it's starting early and ending late. And so I think what's happening is it's locking on too early, and then it ends, and when at the very end of the sequence it's supposed to fire. Well, it's already opened up, so it can't, the whole thing can't fire, because the firing pulse comes from somewhere else, but it travels through that, so it opens up, and the ball's still in there, and then it starts the sequence again. So it's probably on the score motor somewhere, one of these it's like bent too far or bent somewhere or another, and it's basically engaging one of these posts sooner than it should, and then it's flopping off earlier than it should. So the whole thing needs to be adjusted. I believe that's what it is. So back to the schematics. I'm going to see what is driving that O relay on the score motor. I went and highlighted. So motor 1C, could be that F again. I looked at that once before, or it could be this QB. The QB and the F wouldn't be a timing, but it would be a kind of reliability issue potentially. The 1C could be a timing, and 1C would be that upper stage, because C is, yeah. Well, the stage, that would be hard to have the timing change on that one. One that goes up to those posts, that could be. So I don't know. I don't think I've looked at QB. How about I look at QB real quick? QB's right there. I just like totally matched. So it's held them super tight together while I was pressing this, and I had the same behavior. So I'm pretty sure it's not QB. Let's look at motor 1C. Yeah, so that's motor 1C right there is on the same stack that we were working at before. Let's figure out exactly which wire it is if we can. It's black and maroon and gray. Good luck. That one down there looks black. No, that's kind of greenish. Maroon and gray. That could be maroon and gray. I don't know. Oh, geez, didn't mean to do that. Now that makes it run. Let me turn the game off. And this is it's normally open. So, oh, and this is a timing issue too. Then this is, yeah. Oh, sorry, we're at 1C. Normally closed. So almost all of them are normally closed. I guess what I can do is just put some pressure on there and try to do the same thing and put a ball in there and see if that fixes it. Then I know that's probably the problem. Okay, I'm gonna boot up. I'm gonna hold this. So that seemed to be working better. I'm gonna put some pressure. If I press the out hole here with my finger, that's not the problem. It was only kicking about half the time. Y'all couldn't see it, but I was pressing in the switch continuously, and it was only kicking about half the time. So I don't believe it's one of those switches because I, put 2 or 3 times the pressure on there. If it's an intermittent thing, that would probably fix the problem, at least temporarily, so I'd know that's the issue. So, back to F. F is right there. So, and F is normally open, and it's black and brown and white. We just pull F out of there. Wow, it's definitely a hair trigger. So let me work on F a little bit. There was one switch on F there that was a little too close. And so I have that one a little bit gapped a little bit further now. And now if I hit this, every single time, well, I'll be damned. No, it's not working again. So I thought it was better. It may be that was part of it. I'll tell you the worst is when you get things are in sequence. So you have like 2 kind of sketchy things in series. That may be what I've got going here. I'm real concerned about something being wired up wrong because, I mean, so much of this game has been rewired. Like, I was looking at this, all these switches have been rewired and not super well. You start getting wires out of place, I'm telling you, that's no way, no. So the outhole business is much better now. It's not 100%. It does do another kick after it kicks it out there. I kind of live with that at this point, for now, anyway. I did learn a couple things. So this game, about the way the game plays, I guess I'm not in a game. Okay, so if I knock down the targets are a little sticky. So that is the bonus ladder right there. I said earlier in the video, I didn't know where the bonus ladder. That's the bonus ladder. So when I drain, I'm gonna get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of staggered because it's checking each hole. Bump, 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 bump. If you do them all, it's bump, 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 bump. So that's cool. And if you hit the lit hole, that lights the 10,000 bonus. So I'll just do 2 of them. Sorry, 10 times, so it's 1,000. So I should get 2,000, and it'll be kind of, bump, 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 tunk. So it'll just hit them. So that's working. So, and if you knock them all down, we already saw that work. Then you get that for the next time I hit them, I get the 500. And again, if I hit this, that switch, I need to adjust that one because that switch is not reliably working. Now that 100-point bonus just turned into a 1,000-point bonus when you drain. And I got the same pair of chutes again. I don't know how you earn that. Probably knocking on the whole bank or something like that. But I think functionally all the stuff is working. Still a little gimpy here. Looking at the springs on this. So that big one there is what keeps this thing up against that little clip there, or the bracket that allows it to fall there, because there's that little nub. And that's a huge honking spring. I'm not sure that is the right spring. It's a new spring. Somebody bought springs to put on here, but I don't know what that is about there. What the heck is that nonsense? Well, that ain't right. I guess if you don't have the right spring, you use that spring. Well, if you use that spring for that, maybe these aren't the right spring either. I mean, that one's functional. But I'm thinking these are too big, and that's why sometimes when the ball hits it, it won't. If you give it a good tap, they slide fairly well. But sometimes the ball will hit it and it doesn't have enough to knock it off. And they ought to knock off pretty easily, be kind of like a hair trigger where they pop off and slide down easily, and they don't. And I don't think it's dirt and nastiness. I think that spring is maybe not the right spring. Not positive, but the diameter of that thing just looks huge to me. So I was sitting here looking at this play field, and there's all these little wrinkles in it, and I was thinking, is this an overlay that's got all the ink on it? But it's not, because you see the wrinkles, but the artwork is completely straight. So whatever the overlay is, it's just clear. It doesn't include the ink. I was thinking, well, maybe it's just a big sticker. It's not. So somebody put this overlay on there, and they put it on there relatively early because the playfield underneath is pretty nice. I mean, there's a little bit of some dirt and grime underneath. You see those little streaks, but it's a pretty good shape. So my question, like a little touch up there, not the best of touch ups. My question is, I wonder if this overlay could come up. It might not. But it's kind of cheesy looking. I'm just wondering if this was my game, I'd be tempted to start picking around, get some freeze spray, maybe, because it goes all the way back here. You know, you could just try it on a section back here, see how easy it comes up. Yeah, they did the whole thing. So they stripped everything off here, laid that down. And it looks like they did it thermally, because or maybe it just was very stretchy, and they got places where it wasn't laid down perfectly flat. There's little like that, like a little wavy sections. At first I thought it was like heat, but I don't think it's heat like that. Some of these around the bulbs are more like that, but some of them are not. So I don't think it's heat. I think it was those things were caused when it was put down. It just wasn't put down perfectly. Anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing. Definitely looks pretty. If you just kind of ignore it, it looks pretty nice. You just walk up, it's like, wow, this thing is bright and clean, and you know, and then you look a little closer and it's like, oh, there's like all this stuff. So maybe you just enjoy it the way it is. So the owner wanted me to put this thing on free play. So the way to figure out how to do that, so this is the credit unit, is so this one, that, you know, that's adding credits because you hear the knocker. So if you hit this other one, go the other way, and you see that one pawl there is about to hit, and then on that one it opened, pushed there and opened two switches. So one of those switches would be for the credit light, saying there's credit on the game. I don't know if this game's got a credit light, but it's definitely got a switch for a credit light. And the other one is for the circuitry so that it can start a game. In any case, if both those are bent so they're closed all the time, even when this is all the way up against that, then this will be basically free play. So you can either bend these switches, what is what I intend to do, or if you want to do something even less kind of manipulative, you can just put a jumper wire between the blades on these switches up here. It's extremely temporary, but bending these switches is pretty temporary. They unbend if anybody wants to put it back. Okay, so I bent those two switches, so when it comes to like 3, 2, well, that'd be 1 credit left. Well, that's 0 credits left. It's not going any further, and it's not hitting anything, and those are both, they're both closed. So the wheel should say 0. It does. If I press start, it should start a game. And it's not. Huh. Well, I guess one of those switches isn't quite closed. Let me adjust it a little bit more. Got back there in the flashlight. One of them was closed and one wasn't. So now, hopefully this will work now. Still doesn't. Huh. Let me check one more time. So everything was good in the back. I had adjusted correctly. It was just that I was already in a 2-player game with 0 points scored, so it's not going to start another. It's not going to burn another credit. So that's the way it's supposed to operate. So once I scored a point, then it would allow me to start another game. So anyway, that's done. This thing, I think I'm pretty much done with everything I'm going to do on it. Just put my free play down there. I adjusted this switch, was kind of, it wasn't registering every single time, and the problem was the ball, it can kind of sit in there a couple different places. Sometimes it's high and sometimes low. If it's set all the way high without ever flopping low, it wouldn't register the switch. So I made that more sensitive. The drop targets, they're fully functional. Sometimes they're not, maybe not as sensitive as you'd like. If you hit them straight on, they're good. Sometimes, well, I'm not demonstrating their lack of falling very often, but sometimes with these flippers are so strong when they hit really hard. And I thought maybe they were hitting the plastic, but I don't think that's the case. I think just sometimes if you hit them hard from the side, they're not going to go down. That's just the life of a drop target mostly. This issue with this extra kicker at the end, it does that every single time. I'm almost wondering if that's the way it's supposed to be. I wish I had another one of these old Gottlieb set up here and I could just look at it, or maybe I'll go online and watch a couple videos and see if that is, I don't think that's normal, but it does it. It's not doing it kind of it's every single time it's doing it now. So I'm going to show you this video. This is just the first one I pulled up, and it does the exact same thing. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. Watch it. There's the ball, and then does the ball, and then another kick. I don't know why they made it that way, but apparently that's the way they made it. So anyway, I think that's good. All right, I'm going to do a gameplay video. Didn't do any cosmetics. I think I mentioned that earlier. Like the drop targets don't drop down every time. The bunch of bulbs are kind of twinkling, but we're going to play a game. All right, so it's critical to get in the other saucer, the one that's lit. That gives you a bonus multiplier of times 10. So I just got it. We got that 10 times lit. So when my ball drains, I'll get 1,000 points for each drop target I've knocked down. I have not yet completed the whole bank during a game. I mean, they do reset every ball, but still. That's 3,000 also, so even if you've already got it, it's not a bad shot. Those buzzing that drives people crazy, I know. It's the AC frequency. It's got 60 hertz, and it's on off and on off. And if there's any slack in there, it will. Oh my gosh, that's probably the closest I've gotten. But I think there was 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got 8,000 bonus. So you can't see it, but I've got 18,900 points. 100,000 to roll this game. So for one ball, that was maybe the best ball I've ever had. wrong side. So every 100-point shot is every 100-point shot's the alternator, and that goes from red to yellow, red to yellow. Nice if you can hit it with a skill shot. Or not. Right down the middle. I did hook up the tilt. The tilt was kind of laying in there, so it's going out. Oh, I nudged it right out of there. Yeah. So now I'm on ball 5, and I've got 26,000. So I've got like 7,000 on those 3 balls. So that's good. Shows you how good the first ball was. Woo! That was a good dance. Did it again. Ooh, I got a free game. The free game's only 30,000 on here, so about all it should be, because this game is hard as hell. So I got 38,000. Not too shabby. Anyway, I think I'm done working on this one. It's not perfect, but the guy just wanted me to get it going. I think he's gonna shop the whole thing, tear it apart, put new rubbers, and clean it up. And anyway, so I think this is kind of where he was wanting it. So if not, he can let me know, because he's gonna get to see this video.